This morning's reading is Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, and ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way, and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her, she will not fall. God will help her at break of day. Nations are in uproar, kingdoms fall. He lifts his voice, the earth melts. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Come and see what the Lord has done, the desolations he has brought on the earth. He makes wars cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the shields with fire. He says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord Almighty is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress." This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks
be to God.
So friends, I know, as I said before, I introduced myself. My name is Rusty Roo. Now there are some people here for the first time. So I'm Rusty from the little shire of Wuku, which is just south of Rockhampton, if I remember when I was growing up. And so kids, I've got a family as well. Do you have a family? Yep. Well, I've got a family too. So my wife, her name is Kangaroo, and I've got 3 children. I've got a son whose name's Jacka. His name's Jackaroo. And I've got a little girl named Jillaroo. You might know her. She looks like someone who plays on the piano. And my other son is... That's right. I do have another one. I've got another boy called Uluru. And talking about pets, I've got a dog, I've got a Kelpie. And sometimes he doesn't come back. So I call him, I go, "Huru, come over, Huru." But Huru never comes. Huru always says goodbye to me and walks the other way. So that's my dog, Huru. Now, for those who don't know me, most of the brigades, they know me. I've known you for a while now. And so what do I love? What sort of things do I love in the world? I love animals. Thank you. I love animals. And today, I'm going to talk about animals, not leaders. I'm going to talk about animals that like to sleep. Right? So that lady who was there, Bev, she talked about sleeping and resting. So I want to talk about some animals that sleep. Now, some of you know that there are animals that can sleep a long, long time. They can sleep for months. All right? And that's... Thank you. Okay, so some of them are called teenagers, and just to think about it, yes, Jacka and Jillaroo, they do hibernate. So animals that sleep for a long time, they hibernate, because what they do, when you hibernate, they can actually control their heartbeat, control their eating, and they can sleep for months. So a good example of animals that sleep for months. So here's the word hibernating. So animals that hibernate. What is this? Raccoon. It's a raccoon. So a raccoon, they can hibernate and sleep non-stop for a whole month. Who can sleep for a whole month? Here we go, teenagers. Teenagers and one mum of a teenager, all right? So some of you are like raccoons. You can sleep up to a month. But that's not the longest. There's another one. What is this? Or chameleon? What sort of, not quite a chameleon? Gecko. A gecko. A gecko, geckos can live 3 to 4 months. Who can sleep into 3 to 4 months? Oh, okay, the same teenagers and same mother. That's 3 to 4 months. But that's not the longest, kids. It's not the longest hibernating. What is this? A bear. Sometimes my wife calls me a grizzly bear because I'm grizzly, and I can also, this is me, sometimes I like to sleep a long time. A grizzly bear can sleep for 7 months. Who can sleep up to 7 months without waking up? Okay, it's the same people again. But guess what? It's not the longest. The longest animal that sleeps the longest is, what is this? Oh, everyone's gone, a snail? It's like a question. Snails, believe it or not, a snail can hibernate up to 3 years. I'm not going to ask who sleeps for 3 years, because that would be pretty incredible. Good question. How do they know they sleep? They don't. They just go, that's a good question. How does an animal know that they're hibernating sleep? I reckon they don't. I reckon they're just walking along, they go into a den, and they go, and they don't know. But kids, that's hibernating. And so hibernating is a way that an animal can rest and sleep for very long periods. But then there's some animals that can sleep a long time during a day. So instead of thinking months, let's look at which animals sleep the longest during a day. And I'm sure we're going to get more hands up here. Okay, so who are the big sleepers? Okay, oh, someone said cats. All right. Oh, okay, well, here's one. One is, someone said cats. What is this? A tiger. A tiger, tigers can sleep up to 16 hours. So remember, there's 24 hours in a day. They can sleep up to 16 hours. And I'm sure, like all cats, whether it's a big cat like a tiger or your cats at home, they sleep up to 16 hours. But are they the longest? No. Who is this? What? An armadillo. Thank you. Correct. I'm going to give you a big tick. Tick. An armadillo can sleep longer than a tiger. An armadillo can sleep up to 18 hours a day. Who sleeps here up to 18 hours? An armadillo. What about any people? Can any people sleep up to 18 hours? Oh, okay, it's the same three over here. But are they the longest? No. What is this? A sloth. A sloth. A sloth. Okay, remember there's 24 hours in a day. A sloth can sleep up to 20 hours a day. 20 hours. Sometimes, so kids, sometimes I get called a grizzly bear, sometimes I call it a sloth because, I do nothing around the house for a good 20 hours, okay? And I'm looking at some of the wives are looking at their husbands as well, going, Jackaroo's not alone. Are sloths the longest? No. What? Shh. What, apart from the leaders, what animal sleeps the longest during the day? Koala, correct. So kids and big kids, a koala can sleep up to 22 hours a day. So if you think of this, there's usually 2 hours a day where they wake up and they eat. That's all they do. So kids, today I want to talk more about koalas. Who knows what a baby koala is called? A baby koala is called a... Joey! Yes! Tick for you. It's called a joey. A joey lives in a pouch for 6 months, and then after 6 months, the baby crawls on mum's back and lives on mum's back for 6 months. So there's a whole 12 months of mum carrying this little baby around. Did you know, sometimes people call them koala bears. They are correct, Miss Kirsty. Koalas are not bears because... Thank you, Thomas. So I had to remember his name because I had to remember about a train. Yeah, okay. They're marsupials. So Thomas, what's a marsupial? What's the difference between a marsupial and a bear's not a marsupial? Why is... And they have a pouch, correct. Bears don't have a pouch. Our Aboriginal folk, they originally called koalas a name which means no drink. You know why they're called no drink? Because they hardly drink, that's correct. So if they hardly drink, what do? Where do they get their moisture and their fluids from? They get them from eucalyptus leaves. Thank you. Did you know? Who here can eat eucalyptus leaves? Koalas. What? Oh. Okay. So boys, bit of an idea. Don't eat eucalyptus leaves because they're poisonous. Eucalyptus leaves are actually poisonous, and a koala has a special part in its body called the cecum, C-E-C-U-M. And so as part of its digestion, it actually gets rid of the poison so that they can have the leaves. And my last question is, because they eat a lot of leaves, it doesn't give them a lot of energy. And because they don't have a lot of energy, they sleep. Thank you, big kid over in the corner. So that's why koalas sleep a lot, because they don't get a lot of energy. They can eat up to 1 kilogram of leaves, but it's still not enough to give them energy. And that's why 2 hours a day they're awake, and the rest of their hours they are sleeping. So, kids, you're probably thinking to yourself, Rusty, what has koalas got to do with Psalm 46 and sleeping? I'm glad you asked. Miss Bev told us before that we need to take a rest. Why? Why do you think it is good for us to rest and sleep? Why do we do that? Yep. So you don't be angry. Yes, it's a way to calm yourself down. But what about sleeping? Is there any other reasons, Thomas? Ooh, I love that word. Sometimes we need to recharge. I don't know about you, but if I did 5 star jumps, I would not be able to throw a ball around until I actually rest and recharge my energy. Another reason is this. When you sleep, you need something for you to jump out of bed. Energy. So I like another word called re-energize. You re-energize so you're ready to hit the day going. And the third reason, boys and girls, why we sleep and rest, and especially that when we sleep, is that who here has ever had a bruise? How does the bruise go away? Do you know how does the bruise?
By rest.
Yes, correct. So when we rest, any damage to our bodies is fixed. So little new molecules fix our flesh, and the bad parts go away into our droppings, like all the other animals. So that's the reason. So we've got to re-energize, we've got to restore, and I like to use the word rejuvenate, so that our bodies can be ready again. So kids, I don't know about you, I'm going to ask you this question. Sometimes life is tough. As Bev said before, Bev, all the things that she said, she would just go, oh my goodness, that's a lot of things. But sometimes life is hard. Who here sometimes feel like you're falling in a deep hole? There are days where you just wake up and you go, you know what, I just feel like I'm just falling. Sometimes we feel like we're like a little boat. In life, our life is just being tossed about by these big, massive waves around us. And we feel like a little boat tossed about. Who feels like that sometimes? I feel like that sometimes. Sometimes, and that's why I like this answer over here. Sometimes during the day we get so frustrated, we get so annoyed, and that our head is almost going to explode. And sometimes we get angry, we go, and then pop. Sometimes our head explodes and we might say the wrong thing or do something that we shouldn't do. Who feels like that sometimes? Yes, many of us. But what did God tell us to do? Did God tell us to stay falling, stay knocked around and feel like your head's going to explode? God didn't say that. God said right at the start that John told us. The first thing that God said is, God is our refuge and our strength, and ever present in a time of trouble. But kids, how can we find God? If God is ever present, how can we find God when we're falling, tossed about, or when our head is going to explode? And this is the clincher. And this is what Bev said before. We need to be still. We need to be still and then know that God is God. John also said at the end that the Lord Almighty is with us. God, which includes our Creator, which includes Jesus, which includes the Holy Spirit, is always present and is always with us wherever we go. God made all animals, including you and I, so that we could sleep and rest, to help us to restore, to rejuvenate, and to save our energy. God made us so that we can just be still and rest. And so kids, I'm sure I'm looking at you and you go, Rusty, how can I just be still and rest? So I'm going to give you something to do. Who here can possibly find a quiet place? Who can find a quiet place at home or at work? Can everyone find a quiet place? With no noise. You don't want to be distracted. That's the key thing. You don't want to be distracted. So it might be just in your room. It might be going to a park. For those who work, that's where we go to the sick room. Okay? We go, ooh, I don't feel too good. And you take a time out in the sick room. And you do this. We do a breath prayer. Who knows what a breath prayer is? No one. Good. This is how I want you to be still. So when you feel like you are falling, you're tossed about, or your head is going to explode, go find a quiet place, and I want you to do this. Who can breathe in? Can everyone breathe in? Follow me. So everyone breathe in, go. And then go, ah. That's called inhale. Inhale is in. Exhale is out. Who can do that? Everyone, inhale. Everyone, exhale. And all of you are looking at Rusty going, Jace, that's how we do that every second of the day. But there's another part. What I want you to do, everybody, is when you breathe in, I want you to think in your mind the word Lord. I want you to think, and you can say it if you want to, so you can go, Lord, as you breathe in. So as you breathe in, think the word Lord. Everyone breathe in. Lord. And then you blow out. When you blow out, you say, refresh my heart. Everyone do it? Refresh my heart. So you breathe in, Lord, and you blow out, refresh my heart. I want you to do that for 5 minutes. If you can do that for 5 minutes, and notice what's happened to your body. You'll probably find that your heart rate will start to slow down. Your mind is going to start thinking about God as you think about more about Lord and refreshing your heart. So who can do that? Who thinks they can go home and do that for 5 minutes? Oh, good. I've got one person. Excellent. Okay. I'm telling all of you, sometime during the week, Lord, refresh my heart. If you go, oh, that's too simple, I'm going to give you another one. Or you can do this. Another one is you can just, as you breathe in, you go, Jesus, help me rest. And you blow out, give me peace. Jesus, help me rest. And blow out, give me peace. Oh, yeah, sorry, I should have put please. Correct. I'm going to tell Reverend Jason we need to put a please on the end. All right? So I want you to do that during the week. So that's a way, because God has commanded us, be still. But the second part is know that I am God. So little kids and big kids, what I want you to do this week is to go out and be still. When you feel that life is hard, take 5 minutes and just do a breath prayer. Because when we do a breath prayer, I'm sure that you will feel re-energized. You might feel restored. Or even better still, you'll feel ready to go and wake up like a person waking up. That you're ready to do whatever you have to do next. So kids, I'm going to finish. So whenever you're in a rough spot, and big kids, whenever you're in a rough spot, copy the koala. Just think this week, you know what? This week I'm going to be like a copy. I'm going to copy the koala. I am going to rest. Don't rest for 22 hours, Thomas, okay? But rest. Rest like the koala. Because God is ever present and is with us. And God tells us to. God is telling you to be still and know that I am God. So what are you going to do? You're going to copy like a koala. Thank you. I know one person's paid attention this morning. You are going to copy like a koala. Okay. We're going to sing a song about being still. And these words are actually from this psalm. So let's remain seated as we're going to sing the next song. Lupe, do you want to go next screen? We're going to sing Be Still and Know to help us remind us. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Restoring. I am the Lord that healeth you. I'm the Lord that healeth you. I am the Lord that healeth you. Take some faith. In you, O Lord, I put my trust. In you, O Lord, I put my trust. In you, O Lord, I put my trust.
You are invited to pause the video at the start of each Bible reading and to open your Bible and read the reading presented. This will prepare you to answer each question. Reflecting on Scripture. Many places are described as thin places, where heaven and earth seem to merge. Celtic Christians say that heaven and earth are only 3 feet apart, but in the thin places, that distance is even smaller. What places have been sacred to you? Read Genesis chapter 28, verses 10 to 19a. At Bethel, heaven and earth meet. God comes down to Jacob in a dream and provides him with assurance and blessings. What are the blessings that God promises Jacob? How does Jacob respond to God's presence? What does it mean to you to be chosen and blessed? In reading Psalm 139, verses 1 to 12, and then verses 23 and 24, the psalmist speaks of God's intimate knowledge of every aspect and action of a person. What does God know about each of us according to the psalm? What is the psalmist's response to God's presence? How does it make you feel to know that God knows you intimately? Is it comforting? Troubling? Read Romans chapter 8, verses 12 to 25. Paul declares that God knows us and seeks to transform us. What does Paul say about being the children of God? In what ways do you see Paul building on the idea of Genesis chapter 28, verses 13 to 17? Connecting Scripture and life. God promises to be present with God's people, providing blessings, community, and protection. But there are times that people do not feel this presence. How do you provide space for those who feel they need time away from God, such as those who experience violation or abuse, or who's harmed by the church or community? In what ways might your community be a thin place?